All right, guys, so most of us have already beat Dark Domain Part 2. It's been out for almost about a week now. I think it's fair and safe to make this video and post this video out now because there is some juicy information towards the very end. We get a little hint of where the game is heading to. Like, what is the next story adaptation, or what is the next chapter of the story? Now, as we can see, we saw in the video that we were looking at Dr. Connor's landings at some mysterious area. The door opens, he comes out. What it seems to look like is a jungle. He just looks like he's lost. And then out of nowhere, you see something just flash through the camera, and then three figures land next to him. And if you take a good look at it and you look at these figures, it's clear that these figures are mutated. I'm guessing they were animals that were mutated into humans, or humans mixed with animals. What, I don't know. But here's the thing. We have a regional set that we have not had a story for, and that is Savage Shadowland. The reason why I say that is because I believe that the next part of the story will be Savage Land. Now, here is why I believe that, and I'm literally so sure that I'm willing to say it now, that that is going to be the next part of the story, because everything is making sense. All the dots are connecting, and it looks to be something so exciting. And it's going to include some faces that we've wanted to see. I don't know if they will be playable, but we're gonna finally see them added into the game. Probably gonna be heading towards companion. So exactly what is Savage Land? Well, the Savage Land is a prehistoric land hidden in Antarctica. To just sum it down, because it can get pretty, boring with all the information and details. Basically, an alien comes and gets a part of the world, hides it, and adds all this technology to control the weather and all that stuff. They just to research evolution. And what ends up happening is these aliens, after a while, they just move on, they get bored, and then they just leave and go on and do it to another planet or whatever it is, but they just leave. The thing here is that the people, or the mutants living in Savage Land, are able to still survive because it was so well built that now this is prehistoric. So when dinosaurs started getting extinct, the area that was being studied on was not affected because it was protected by the technology that the aliens put. So it's always been just a hidden world, like a prehistoric world where there's dinosaurs, where there's all these different types of different animal races, like cat people, lizard people. And there's one guy who's basically the lord of it, which he's a good guy, and he's pretty much Tarzan. Just to, for people that don't understand, that's probably the best way for you guys to understand, is that he basically, what Tarzan is this guy does. He has no superpowers, but he was basically raised by a saber tooth, and so he's basically Tarzan with a saber tooth tiger as his buddy, and then they run that land. They make sure that everything's getting taken care of, and if there's a threat comes, they protect. Now, so here's the thing though. So we get these three individuals that show up next to Dr. Connor, and like one of them looks like a cheetah, tiger, or some sort. Either way, I believe that falls under the category of cat people. There's the one in the middle, looks like he's a snake, which they do have reptile or the lizard people, whatever the snake is actually now. And next to them is Rhino, a rhino-looking mutated creature, obviously, because you can tell because it looks like a fucking rhino. So when you look into Savage Land, you see that it's a jungle hidden, so it's not easy to find, and it's populated by all these like mutated animals, and their dinosaurs never got extinct, which looks a lot like where Dr. Connors is currently at. And what is Dr. Connors turns into a lizard? Is that the same Dr. Connors? Is that the lizard Dr. Connors from Spider-Man? I hope so, because it would make more sense. So the other thing that I saw that really made more sense why Savage Land is the next part of the story is because, as you can see, this is the only regional gear that has not had a story. We had everywhere else, we've had a story now connected to. Dark Domain just got finished, and now we have that. Everyone has their own region, but except Savage Shadowland. And as you can see, it just looks clear as day that it is connected to prehistoric beings. We can even see Iron Man using it in one of the cartoons where it almost looks like the costume we have in the game. Kind of. There's just the face is what really has the most resemblance, and it literally has Savage Land in the name. There's just a shadow before the land, but still, it's right there. It's clear as day. They're telling us that that is the next part of the story to get prepared for it. I'm 100% sure that that is what's coming next. Now, here is what really gets me excited. First of all, a big ass red dinosaur called Devil Dinosaur, which we know we're probably gonna end up fighting, and I cannot wait to see how he's going to look. They have to include him there. There's certain people that you have to include when you are making a Savage Land story. First thing is the X-Men. When you say Savage Land, the first thing that pops into a lot of people's head is X-Men, because that is the most where Savage Land was talked about. Now, there was certain X-Men that had more face time than other X-Men, and those X-Men were Wolverine, Rogue, and Storm. So we can literally see this is a perfect opportunity to add Wolverine. Now, I'm not saying he's gonna quickly be added as a playable character, but he will make an appearance. I will bet my cards on that he's going to make an appearance, because you have to have Wolverine. You can't have Savage Land and leave out the Wolverine. You know, everybody's going to be asking, if they leave out Wolverine and they come out with a Savage Land story, people are going to be wondering, like, how come this was a perfect opportunity for you to bring in the Wolverine. Now, here's the other thing. So as I was searching up Savage Land, I started to see some things. Okay, first of all, I saw some things, and first of all, I wasn't a big fan of Rogue, but now I am. Even the lizards were like, God damn. Let me take a closer look at that. And we got Storm looking like a treat. And Storm, good God almighty. I could not believe, I thought these were like fan-made type of pictures drawn up. Like, no, these literally how they looked in the comics. So wow, obviously they couldn't do exactly the way like Storm looked for the Savage Shadowland, but they're doing their own like rendition of it. Now, the other person that we're going to that they have to add also, as you know, at first we're probably going to see as an NPC, is Rogue coming in, and we're finally seeing her in the game. The chances of her showing up are pretty high because of the storyline, and she's one of the characters that always seems to be appearing. And of course, we've already seen Storm. So Storm, you definitely know that she's going to have a part in that. Now, here's the other thing though. Remember how I was talking about my last video where Deadpool literally breaks that fourth wall and he teases himself that he's going to be coming in season number 2. Now, let's not forget, Deadpool was looking for a place because he got kicked out of Sakaar and he was down where Mephisto's land, and he was trying to recruit people to go and take over Sakaar, right? Well, here's the thing though. Deadpool actually has a story in Savage Land where AIM sends him on a mission down to Savage Land to retrieve an object and then escape. But when he goes there, he realizes that these people are building a statue of himself. He's confused and he's trying to figure out what's going on. And then finally later on in the story, you realize that they're worshiping but a zombie variant, and it's just the head. So that right leads into dinosaurs being zombies, stuff like that. But I'm not saying this is going to happen exactly. I'm just saying these are all the possibilities that could be happening in Savage Land. For sure, Savage Land is happening. But this is another reason why I believe Daredevil is the next one. We got the tease in the beginning, and now we're doing Savage Land, which Deadpool has an arc. Now they could be bringing in a lot of X-Men faces. Now, they did mention that this was not an Avengers game, so they don't want to be labeled as an Avengers game. So I feel like they're leaning more towards maybe bringing in more X-Men. They already brought Magic. Now Deadpool, Wolverine could be the next up. I still believe Deadpool is the next one. And knowing about this Savage Land, and Deadpool has a storyline in there. And let's not forget, Danny Koo is always wearing the Deadpool hat every time he does his live stream. Let's not forget that. Now, the other person that has a big part in this is also somebody that's already in the game, and that is Spider-Man. He has a lot of stories where he is in Savage Land, and some of them include him and Deadpool going there together. So here's the kicker. Spider-Man in that story, one of the variants of Spider-Man ends up being bitten or shot by something, and he actually becomes a real spider. He literally grows 2 more arms, and he has those sharp fangs coming out of his mouth, and he just started going berserk. We might have a villain version of him in the story where we fight that variant. So to sum it all down, we're literally getting a story expansion update with just a whole bunch of more dinosaurs. Now we already experienced dinosaurs with Star-Lord's campaign, Now we're going to be experiencing a lot more of that, like a lot more, and I'm excited because now this is a perfect chance for them to include Wolverine. Rogue, start showing Rogue up in here. Now I don't know if they're going to be wearing the outfits that they were wearing in the comics, but I'm interested to see what they're going to do. So this is exciting because now the other thing is Kraven the Hunter loves to go into Savage Land and hunt, because as you know, Kraven the Hunter hunting normal animals is just too easy for him. So by him going in Savage Land, it is more of a difficult challenge because these mutated animals are more advanced and more, obviously they're like people. So that's why I believe I'm more excited for Savage Land than I am for Dark Domain. It's not because I already beat the Dark Domain. Don't get me wrong, Dark Domain was a really good story, and I had a lot of fun playing it. Except Savage Shadowland is definitely more my cup of tea because we're gonna be in a whole jungle environment, dinosaurs. Please let us see some Wolverine action. Probably get some X-Men companions. And the other thing is that Magneto actually has a base down there in one of the stories in the comics, where I believe we might see like Magneto making a return, because Magneto, I feel like Magneto wasn't given the attention he deserved, and he was just an early villain that was easily defeated in the beginning, and we kind of really never saw him again. And I want them to bring him back as one of the villains that we see in the next story expansion, because I believe he deserves to be brought back, and he needs to be tough to beat. He needs to be strong, just like Hela is, because I believe they did a good job with Hela. She's very difficult. It's making the people in the community have to come together in order to kick her ass. So I'm really happy about that. So I'm really excited. I'm actually really excited for the next story part. The thing is that when is it coming? And it's probably gonna be a while. So who knows? I'm still just doing my dailies, and that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Savage Land? Hell yeah, dinosaurs, devil dinosaur, red big ass teeth.